Hello and welcome to the Extraordinary Talk Show with your host, Della Hill. I'm glad to be here with you guys again today. This show will be airing on the radio on Monday at 4:30, but because it's Labor Day coming up on Monday, I'm not going to be here, so I'm pre-recording for you guys now. This video will also be uploaded to YouTube shortly after we're done here on the YouTube page, The Extraordinary Talk Show, where you can find today's show and previous shows if you want to catch up, find out what we talked about before you found us. Today, I have a cool thing to talk about. We are going to be talking about your golden path. So the first thing you're wondering is, what the heck is a golden path? Well, let me tell you. If you remember the movies or books about Dune, they were popular when I was a kid, which was about 35 years ago, so you may never have heard of them. But you might have. In Dune, they had a thing called the Golden Path. They describe it kind of in this way. Here's a super short summary because those books in that series are very long. We're not going to go into all that. But the Golden Path in Dune was the strategy that they were using to prevent humanity's ultimate destruction. What I'm talking about isn't that intense. But it can be very, very life-changing for you. The Golden Path, still according to the Dune books, is an expansive, prescient interpretation only visible in the books to Kwisatz Haderach. I think that's how you say his name. It foretells the events of the future, both great and small, and more profoundly, it reveals an optimum path through countless threads of cause and effect that are encountered by the human race. How I would change that from the Dune books to your life is by saying it's an expansive, prescient interpretation only visible to you. It foretells events of the future, both great and small. More profoundly, it reveals an optimum path through the countless threads of cause and effect that are encountered in this life by you. That's one interpretation of a golden path. Another interpretation of a golden path is a journey of self-illumination, a path of your soul. As you move along your golden path, you will awaken to new knowledge, to greater understanding. You will connect more deeply with your higher self and your higher power. You will find yourself open to inspiration, which will guide your daily life, including your interactions with others and your own life. It will help you accomplish your goals. It will help you overcome obstacles. It will help you make your dreams come true if you can find and follow your golden path. Some people call their golden path their life purpose. That might be the simplest way to explain it. I could have avoided all of the Dune references and everything if I'd just gone straight there. The golden path is your extraordinary. That's how I would explain it. It's discovering the genius in your life. Now, your golden path isn't a magical thing that you're going to find one time and you got it all. It takes time. It's kind of like going hiking. When you plan a hike, you figure out where you want to hike. You prepare. You wear the right clothes, bring enough water, bring snacks, pick the time of day, all that. Then you show up at the trailhead. And the trailhead might tell you where this path is going to take you, where you're going to end up. But it can't tell you exactly what the path is going to look like, what things you're going to find on your path. The only way to do that is to do it, to take the first step and go. Okay, that might sound confusing, but I'm going to give you some more guidance on that here in a minute. As you're on that path, you find more and more information. You see things around you. You observe. If you're hiking, you might find cool things to look at: wildlife, trees, rocks, arches, rock formations, those kinds of things, beautiful views, and you will have beautiful vistas along your way. When it's your golden path, pretty much all those same things are true. You start at the beginning. You have to prepare. You kind of have to get your stuff ready. But you know what? If you just set out, you can kind of pick up the things that you need along the way as you go. It's a little different than going for a hike where you got to make sure you have your water ahead of time. On your golden path, you will find the help and support that you need on your way as you're going. You might know what your goal is at the end of your golden path, but you never know exactly what that's going to look like when you get there. You might have set your intentions and asked for what you want, but what it actually ends up being and looking like is different than you ever expected, and almost always better than you ever expected. Sometimes mind-blowingly better than what you expected. You have to understand, though, that it's one step at a time. You can't get to the top of Angel's Landing without getting out of the car, taking the first step, and starting on that path. In the end, it's really worth it because it's beautiful, and you can say that you did it, and you can be proud of yourself for that accomplishment. But to start, you got to take the first step. And you don't know what the whole path is going to look like until you explore it and discover it. And if you're standing, since we're using that example, at the bottom of Angel's Landing looking up, you might think this is impossible. There is no way I can do this. But when you take the first step, you realize that that step wasn't hard. So you take the next step, and then you realize, oh, well, that step wasn't hard either. So you start to pick up pace. And you might come to some things that look more difficult, some places where you have to step, where you have to walk or climb, that as you're approaching it, it looks more difficult. But when you get to that, just remember one step. Every step will take you forward. I didn't bring the whole poem by one of my favorites, Shel Silverstein, as you guys know. I've read you some of his poems before. But he's got the one poem about the girl who eats the whale. And how does she do it? One bite at a time. So when you're on your golden path, you might know what the end goal is. But very, very often, the whole path itself looks impossible, looks very difficult. And many people look up at Angel's Landing and they think, you know what? It's too high, too hard. I can't do it. Not worth my time. And in that way, for those people, they failed before they ever started. They never even found how high they could go. They just gave up at the beginning. You might be one of these people who feels like inside of you there's a spark. There's something special. There's something unique about you. And you're trying to figure out what that is and how to use it to benefit you and your life and the people around you. You may not feel that. You may not have that spark. At least you may not be able to feel it, because I guarantee you that spark is there. I guarantee you that whether or not you know it, you have special things about you that make you unique, that give you something special to offer that nobody else can offer. So if you're hearing me talk about this golden path and you think that, okay, that's cool, but it's probably way too much for you, it's not. Just start with baby steps. That's all you got to do is take one baby step. And when you get there, take another one. So what are those steps? That's a really good question. How your golden path goes is going to be different for you because your life is different, your mission is different, your purpose is different. You may not know what your purpose is. The truth is, most of us don't. Of the 6+ billion people living here on the planet, very few of us know what our purpose in this life is. We know we're here to learn. We know we're here to accomplish things, to experience, but we don't always know what our purpose is. You can find your purpose on your golden path. And the cool thing is you can start on your golden path before you know what your purpose is. But being on your golden path will help you find your purpose. It will take you to that and then show you not only how to do it, but show you ways to make it easier and show you the benefits and blessings that you're getting along the way the whole time as you're moving towards your purpose. Many of us, even if we could speak to God or our guardian angels or our higher selves and say, okay, what's my purpose? Very often we wouldn't be able to get a clear answer because what our purpose is might be so much bigger and greater than we think we're capable of. And it's kind of like looking up at Angel's Landing. If you look up there and you think, wow, it's too big, it's too much, I'll never make it, so you never start. Maybe you're not supposed to know what your purpose is now. Because if you could see your whole purpose, you'd look at it, you'd think, you know what, that's too big, it's too scary, and you wouldn't start. So if you are trying to figure out what your purpose is in life and you don't know it yet, don't feel bad. Just keep moving towards it. I want to tell you a story. We'll come back to the Golden Path. There was a man who had many debts. It's kind of an older story. And he went to his boss and he asked his boss for help paying off his debts. And his boss said, I'll make you a deal, kind of a bet. I will pay you all this money to pay off your debts if you can climb to the top of that mountain and sit there all night long. Stay there in the cold, in the weather. Whenever you're afraid of anything, stay there. And if you can do that all night long, I'll give you the money. Well, the man thought that was a good idea and he accepted, but then he wasn't sure if he could do it. He went and talked to a friend and he told the friend the situation. And the friend said, I'll tell you what, I'll help you. I will go to the mountain that's across the valley from you. When you're up on that mountain, I'll be on the opposite mountain and I will light a fire. I'll light a fire so big that you can see it and you will be warmed by the flames of my friendship. The guy said, okay, that sounds great. So that night they both climbed up their mountains. The one man sat there in the cold and the weather, but he could see across the valley on the other mountain, the other fire that his friend had lit. And because he saw that, it gave him the hope. It gave him the strength to stick through the night, to stick it out. And in the morning he was able to go to his boss, get the agreed upon amount of money. And then he went back to his friend. And he was going to offer his friend some of this money. And his friend said, no, I don't want any of your money. That was what you needed. That accomplished this task and this goal for you. Here's what I ask of you. In the future, there may be a time that I need a fire lit for me. And when I need the friendship fire from you, I'll need that from you at that time. And that's what I ask. That's where the story ends. But that's where contemplation begins. And I felt it was important to share that story, even though it may not seem to fit the Golden Path, what I'm talking about. Because as we're on our path, as we're searching for our path, as we're continuing down our path, each of us have an individual path. It's very specific to us, very specific to our lives. It takes into consideration our abilities and our skills, even the ones that we don't know we have, and there's a lot of those. But yours is different from everyone else. However, we don't do it alone. We can't do it alone. We shouldn't do it alone. We have our friends. We have people here in this life to help us. And one way to be successful on your path is to continually light your flame of friendship and look for that in others. And when you find those people, you know them. You can connect to them, you can join up with them, you can share part of your path with them. Some people don't get the Golden Path, don't understand what it is or what I'm talking about. And if you're on your Golden Path, it's pretty hard to try and explain it to somebody who has no idea what it is, especially if they don't have an open mind and they're not open to it. My beautiful friend Colleen sent me a meme this week. It was a picture of a girl wearing a crown. And anybody who knows me knows that I kind of have a thing for tiaras and crowns. But this little girl was holding the crown, and the meme said, some people will find that you are too much for them. Those are not your people. So as a reminder, when you're on your path, you're going to find people who aren't on theirs and don't understand why you are. That's okay. They're just not your people. They don't need to be, but you can still love them. You can still appreciate them. One word that you've heard me say is frequency. Another one might be vibration. I like to compare people to notes on a piano. almost all of us have at least played a few notes on a piano, even if we've never learned how to read music and play the piano. Every note, when a piano is tuned, every note is beautiful. Every single note that you play by itself, individually, is beautiful. That's how people are. Every single one of us has our own frequency, just like those musical notes, our own vibration. And we are all beautiful. Every single one of us. The highest D, the flattest F. We're unique and we're special, and none of us are like the others. But you can play two notes together, and you notice that some of those notes are entirely harmonious. You can play chords and put different notes together, and it only makes them better. This is when you find the people in your life who match your frequency, that your frequency accentuates and complements their frequency and vice versa. Those are the people you want to have around you while you're on your golden path. Other people might have a beautiful vibration. The note that they play might be beautiful, but it's not harmonious with yours. That's not a bad thing. It just lets you know exactly what it is. Those people are beautiful. They have something wonderful to offer, but they don't match with you. And that's okay. It's not putting them down. It's not thinking anything negative about them. It's simply recognizing that for you to be your best, you should surround yourself with other people of a similar frequency with whom you can be harmonious. So there's a big metaphor for you. And just something to think about as you are moving along your path. I said this already, and I want to say it again. As you're on your path, you find things bit by bit, step by step. Part of your golden path is learning, is gaining understanding and information. And it can be about whatever matters to you, because the things that are important for me to learn are going to be different from the things that are important for you to learn. That's okay. That's great. That's wonderful. We shouldn't all be learning the same things. As you're learning, you're going to start with a little bit at a time. Just like when you were learning how to read and you had to learn your alphabet, then you had to learn the sounds that the alphabet made. Then you could put those letters together in a word. Then you can put words together in a sentence. Then you can put sentence together in a paragraph, in a chapter, in a book. Next thing you know, you're college reading. But you got to start with the alphabet. You got to start with the little bits. And if you're at the beginning of your golden path, that's how things are going to come to you. You're going to get the ABCs. You got to start there. And that's okay, because you can't read a paragraph if you don't know your letters. So when the information starts coming, understand that it comes a little bit at a time, one step at a time, one stage at a time. And one thing that's really awesome is you will always get the information that you need. You will never get more than you need. You'll never get more than you can handle. But this information, this learning, some of it you'll find outside of yourself. I've learned so much on YouTube. I need a license plate frame that says Alumni YouTube University, because I've learned more applicable information to my life from YouTube than almost every other source. In some cases, including college, but don't tell my professors that. Anyway, it comes to you a bit at a time, and it can be frustrating when you're on your path because you want the big books. You want to get it all. You want to understand all of it. And you have to learn a little bit at a time. You kind of, when you're building your purpose, as your purpose is beginning to come together, you have to know certain skills. You have to have certain abilities. You have to be able to move along in a certain way. And all of those pieces will come to you so that when your purpose is presented to you, it's easy. You already have the skills in place, or you know what you need to do to build the skills that you need. It's a beautiful thing, but it can be frustrating when you're going one step at a time and you feel like all you're learning is your ABCs. But don't give up. That's the challenge. And when you accept that challenge, you have to succeed. As long as you're looking, as long as your eyes are open and you're moving forward. Start with learning. And if you're asking, you can ask God, you can ask your higher self, whatever way you do it, whatever way fits into your belief system. As long as you're asking for that help and asking for that support, I guarantee you're going to get it. I guarantee it. Because you cannot search for this and not find something. The trick is when you find something to take the time to learn and understand it and then move to the next step. And there are moments that that's hard, but as soon as you do it, you realize how easy it actually was when you thought it was going to be hard and it wasn't. Many of our difficulties in life are illusions. So many things are put in front of us that look so scary, and they're not that hard when you do it one step at a time, one foot in front of the other. I actually did speak with my friend Tammy about this the other day, and she talked about hiking Angel's Landing, that it looked huge when she stood at the bottom in the parking lot, but she put one foot in front of the other. She said, I only watched my feet. I didn't look up to see how close I was to my goal. I just watched my feet. Kept my attention on my feet and my hands, and every step got me closer. And then the next thing I knew, I looked up and I was there. That's pretty cool, right? So remember, one step in front of the other, searching for knowledge, searching for information, and searching for a better you. You have opportunities every day to do little things differently that make a big, big difference in your life, especially over the long time. One of those, you can guess what I'm probably going to say, meditation. Because I kind of love meditation. I think that if you tried it, you might too. And speaking of meditation, this Wednesday on September 5th, 7 o'clock, I'll be doing a group meditation at Shake Up Dixie here in St. George. So I apologize to those of you that are watching online that are not able to show up. But give it a try. Maybe we can get together sometime, another time. So that's Wednesday, September 5th, 7 o'clock at Shake Up Dixie, just off the boulevard. It's right behind Lip Tricks, 122 North 500 East. I hope to see you there. It's going to be an awesome meditation. If it's your first time coming, there's no cost. If you've come before and you want to come again, that makes me really happy, and I know you're going to get benefits from it. Then it's $7, and you get some tea and a delicious, very nutritious Herbalife shake at the same time. You can also refuse it if you want to just come for the meditation and don't want the tea and shake. That's fine too. We would just love to have you there. One question that you might ask yourself is, why me? Why should I try to find my golden path? Why should I bother? What does it matter? Why do I deserve that? That sounds cool for somebody else who's smarter, fancier, more talented than me. Why me? And if that's what you're asking yourself, I'm going to ask you, why not you? Why not you? You are unique. You are original. You have special skills and abilities far beyond what you even know. And searching for your golden path, following your golden path will help you find those things. It will help you connect to your soul, connect to your higher self, gain greater understanding. Some of that knowledge, like I said, comes from outside. Some of it comes from inside. When you're meditating and contemplating, the knowledge that you can gain during those times might catch you off guard, might catch you by surprise. But it's pretty awesome. Why not you? And that, of course, reminds me of my favorite quote, which I've shared before. I'm just going to read the part of it by Marianne Williamson. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small doesn't serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. The first time I heard that quote, that was what stuck out at me. Why not you? You have something special to share. Whether you realize it or you don't, or maybe there's just that little voice in the back of your head that's trying to speak up, that's trying to say, yeah, you are good enough. You are enough exactly as you are. But because you've heard the opposite of that so much in your life, you don't believe that little voice. when the opposite voices in your head are telling you that you're not good enough and telling you all the negative things. Kick that voice out. It's lying. The one that's telling you the truth is the one that's telling you you're good enough. It is the truth. Listen to that voice more. And really, guys, that's a big key to your golden path. Listen to that voice. The one that's telling you you are enough. That's the one that's telling you the truth. One other quote I want to read for you. I had a whole bunch of them saved. This one is by Joe Dispenza. He's an author that's a favorite of mine, and I do believe in giving credit to my teachers because Joe Dispenza, without him even knowing, has taught me a tremendous amount. He definitely loves meditation. To be empowered, to be free, to be unlimited, to be creative, to be genius, to be divine. That is who you really are. Once you feel this way, memorize this feeling. Remember this feeling. This is who you really are. That's Dr. Joe Dispenza. Another thing I would tell you is remember that feeling, because that feeling will carry you through when you doubt. That's all the time I have today. I hope you guys have had a wonderful Labor Day. You can now follow me on the YouTube page, The Extraordinary Talk Show, as well as Mondays on the Radio right here on Radio St. George 100.3. And YouTube Live whenever I record it, because whenever I record it is when it goes live. Thanks, guys. I'm so glad that you came back to check me out one more time. I'll see you next week.